Welcome to the last day of London Fashion Week and our Because magazine hot takes and highlights from the last 5 days. I'm Caroline Issa and I'm here with my colleague in virtual land, Carmen Bellot. Hi, Carmen.
Hi, how are you doing?
I am good. It was sunny. It felt light. It's the last day of London Fashion Week, digital.
Yeah.
So it's been an interesting ride. What's your overriding impression of the last 5 days? Well, let's start with the general before we go into the specific.
Okay, so general, I thought maybe it's because I'm used to the digital format and presentations, but I was generally quite impressed with the quality of videos that was out there, the kind of creative ways that designers were using to present their collections, and I actually really enjoyed it. I wonder if it's because I had a sunny window outside to look out to, and it was interesting and enjoyable. So how did you find it?
I found it challenging, I have to say. I think I was hoping to find some really innovative and kind of mind-blowing solutions to this time. I'm surprised that there weren't more shoppable live streams. I'm surprised there weren't more kind of 3D AR elements. There were a few here and there that some younger designers tested, but it was really interesting to see how most of the established designers and brands here went with really pure fashion films. But I guess we're all still searching for what is engaging, what is beautiful, what is inspiring. And I guess like you, a little bit of sun and some beautiful clothes will go a long way. But I really hope that in the future, if we have to continue doing a lot of this digital fashion watching, that we'll get some exciting new solutions. But saying that, I think we had some really nice things to look at, and let's start with the first of our highlights, which is completed works. Anna Dewsbury, who launched her jewelry brand several years ago. Very artistic, very architectural designs. I'm wearing a pair of her earrings now. These are everyday jewels that I think she comes at with a very architecturally led viewpoint. What did you think of the film, Carmen?
First of all, I thought it was really interesting to see a jewelry brand on the schedule showcasing a film in the first place. We've been so used to questioning what fashion brands are doing. It's like, something new and refreshing that a jewelry brand has decided to step up and present something. And I liked it. I thought it showcased the jewelry quite nicely, I think. The little close-ups of like the earrings, but it didn't feel forced or unnatural. I liked it. I thought it kind of portrayed the type of woman that wears their jewelry really nicely. It felt very modern, it felt very minimalist, which her jewels are, and as you said, so sculptured and architectural, kind of showcase those shapes off really nicely. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was nice to have that on the schedule. I don't know if in the future, if we carry on with a format like this, if I'll get a bit tired of it, but that's for the future to tell. What did you think?
I loved how completed works and Anna really focused on some slight movements where it's so natural for jewelry to be shown. I loved, with the girl leaning under the sink, drinking from a faucet, a sip of water. I thought that those little touches, peeling an orange, they were just very everyday. And I thought, when you see her jewelry, and it's such a beautifully, as you said, it's kind of sculptural pieces, I thought they were just really nice juxtapositions. So I thought she did a great job. I think it's the first time that she's done something in moving image. And as you said, it was nice to see and surprising to see a jewelry brand who is London-based on our Fashion Week schedule. So well done to Anna and completed works. Let's talk about Simone Rocha now, who is always one of our favorites to watch during London Fashion Week. And I mean, what do you say? It's so beautiful, it's so ethereal, it's so pretty. But this season, she came with like tough girl Simone Rocha with these sculptured leather jackets and a bit of a punk attitude. And I loved the casting as always. The styling is always really beautifully done. And just, you want these pieces, right? And especially for me, the highlight was this pink, all over pink dress with kind of transparent organza sleeves. And just the shape was so sculptural and beautiful. So for me, you know, we always love seeing what she has to do and how she says it. And in this church, it just felt very spiritual and very light and delicious. So what were your thoughts, Carmen?
Yeah, I'm obsessed by this collection. I was, you know, we've seen Simone do pretty so well, and then the first model comes out with this big-shouldered biker leather jacket and platforms and like a puffy 80s skirt, and I was just like, oh my god, I love it. She's now managed to do punk really well, and I think that she found such a nice equilibrium between the prettiness of her kind of rose details and her jewels and her pearls, as well as the kind of punky aspects of the leather and the black. And I just thought it was great. Everything, the hair was so cool, seeing the like jewels kind of put into the hair. The shoes were great. I love the fact it was in a church as well, in this very spiritual and religious space. I really loved it. It was one of my highlights today, actually, I would say.
I could tell you're a fan, Carmen. You're like, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. It's so good.
I'm like bouncing up and down as I talk about it.
And it's true. I think when we see beautiful things, you know, it does give us a jolt of excitement and sort of inspiration, a bit of dreaming, which is what we all really need. So yeah, Simone really did it for us very, very well this season.
Yeah, 100%.
A debut this London Fashion Week for women's wear is Daniel W Fletcher. In fact, a menswear designer who came across most of our radars after Netflix's fashion design show, where he gained legions of fans for his wonderfully cut tailoring and very sort of gender fluid approach to menswear, and his charm. He is such a charmer. And it was really exciting to see his take on women's wear, which he really described as sort of an extension of his menswear, really again looking at it as genderless and very gender fluid. But a lot of his signatures were there, the color blocking, his split leg pants or trousers, as you say here. I'm going to let my Canadian come in for a little bit. But it was fun. And, you know, his creations, you love him, you're sort of a fan of him. And because of, I think, Netflix, he's known around the world now. And I'm sure, given his investment in his e-commerce, that he will continue to do really well and appeal to a wide audience. Did you find a particular piece that you loved in this, Carmen?
I actually was really drawn to his belts in this. So I watched he did an Instagram live at his slot on London Fashion Week, and it was very much like a kind of a day in Daniel Fletcher's life of him styling the lookbook. And then at the end, I had a very kind of sweet and authentic little semi-bloopers bit where they were just speaking freely, and you could see his personality was coming out and how much of a like genuinely nice and playful kind of character he has. I loved, as I was saying, I loved the belts. I thought I wonder if it's how it's styled or actually how it's made, but they kind of sit asymmetrically and they're on the hip. And for some reason, I was just constantly drawn to that. Other than that as well, I thought his patchworks were really cool. I thought it just felt like a really nice addition to his menswear. I've always really liked his menswear and really wanted to just wear it myself. So I felt these pieces would fit into my wardrobe quite nicely. They weren't too out there. They were very much in the Daniel Fletcher tone and very wearable, and just kind of beautifully sits on the model's body. I thought you can tell his kind of tailoring nature came out. So yeah, I thought it was a good women's wear debut. It was a good start.
Apparently, this was shot on 2 TikTok stars. But that just shows how old I am, because I have no idea who they are. But I will be looking them up because I'm curious what they are famous for. Maybe it's just looking really great in Daniel W. Fletcher's clothes.
Yeah, well, they're natural at it, clearly, so...
Another highlight we always look forward to is Erdem on the London Fashion Week schedule. He of floral fantasticalness. But what I loved about this season for autumn-winter was a real, I think, approach to everyday dressing, given we can't always be in one of his amazing gowns or dresses. So I loved the appearance of a silk pajama set, little sweaters tucked into full floral printed skirts. I just felt like Erdem was really thinking about how we want to dress going forward, still with a lot of beautiful sort of detail, but at the same time kind of stripping it back a little bit. And I really loved his approach to the Erdem definition of everyday dressing. For me, it was really successful. And I loved the fact that this film was also ballet inspired and had some ballet dancers in this very atmospheric set. Did you notice anything in particular, Carmen, that you wanted to highlight?
Yeah, I think moving on from what you were saying about how it's inspired by ballet dancers, you can tell a lot of the pieces have so much movement, and I think this film really highlighted that nicely. I was drawn to kind of the more authentic Erdem pieces, so the beautiful dresses, embellished in jewels and floral prints and big shapes, but still very feminine and still reasonably wearable, I guess, depending on your mood. But yeah, I thought it was really beautiful, and I really loved the shadow play as well. I thought that was a really clever way of kind of creating an atmosphere in a digital way. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
I think with Erdem, you will always get something really beautiful, and I thought it was just really nice for us to see an all gray look. I'm curious to feel his fabrics and to see them up close, because some of that beadwork is just incredible. And again, it's one of those films which I thoroughly enjoyed, but it also makes me really pine for being able to touch and feel and see what incredible textile and fabrics and silhouettes they are up close. So well done, Erdem. We definitely look forward to dressing up and dressing down Erdem style. Last but not least is Fashion East, which is a kind of collective of young designers curated by the inimitable Lulu Kennedy. And this year, this season, there were 5 designers. I'm going to try to talk about each one. Maximilian Davis, Nancy Dojaka, Goom, HRH, and Joara Aline. Now, Carmen and I, we both have favorites in this list, and maybe I will highlight mine first, which is Nancy Dojaka. She of sheer bodycon, sensual dresses, sort of body wear that really brings sexy back. And I thought with this season, apparently it was her first foray into color, which I hadn't realized. So she had some fuchsia pinks and bright blues, and they just kind of accentuated even more her approach to sort of the sensual lines of body with sort of the lining and the outlines and these sort of thin straps that then kind of contour transparent films of fabric. So for me, Nancy is definitely one to watch, and I love her approach to sensual dressing. And I'm excited to see how she's going to keep developing this once she also leaves the nest of Fashion East. What did you find a highlight in the Fashion East lineup, Carmen?
So I really loved Maximilian Davis. When he was introduced last season, I think he really made a name for himself, and he produces such beautiful pieces that really kind of change the meaning of sexy for women and brings a lot of elegance, but still that energy that you feel amazing in these types of clothes. And I thought this season I was really interested to see what he was doing, how he's gonna do a run up after such a breakthrough last season. And I really liked it as well. It was another really strong collection, very much kind of inspired by the 60s and 70s and old family photographs that he'd found. And I thought that familiarity definitely came out in his clothes. And there were some really cool pieces. I really loved how he was bringing a lot of denim into it as well, making it a lot more wearable and obviously probably making it a lot more accessible for people to actually buy his clothing. So I'm excited to see what else he does, considering he's done very high glamour now, and as well as kind of everyday wear that are just as desirable as each other. So he was a big highlight for me, though I thought all of the fashionista designs did really well, especially considering circumstances. This year it's been so hard to produce for collections as young designers, so it's very commendable that they're still able to produce full collection and present a film at London Fashion Week. So I think a round of applause it should be given through all their way.
Agreed. And Fashionista is an incredible incubator for future London talent, so we're always excited to see who's sort of part of the group, who's graduating to do their own shows, and who kind of comes into the nest. So well done. A wonderful way to end our London Fashion Week. Looking forward to Milan Fashion Week, which again, we're going to be watching from our laptops here in London, but we're going to share some of our thoughts and hopefully see some very, very beautiful things to get us dreaming and ready for a time when we can be out in amazing clothes. So thanks, Carmen, for sharing this with me.
Yeah, thank you, Caroline, and I hope you have a lovely Milan Fashion Week. I'll speak to you soon.
I'll speak to you soon. Bye, Carmen.
Bye.